What's up, everybody? This is Tanner from TanmanBaseballFan.com. I wanted to talk a little bit today about building something just absolutely magnificent in your collection, finding your niche or niche. I've heard it both ways. I was actually talking about this on my podcast last night. So for those of you that don't know, check out TanmanBaseballFan.com. There's a link to my podcast at the very top in the navigation. It's in a different color, so you can't miss it. And it's not really full-blown amazing podcast with like this crazy intro and these high-profile people I'm interviewing. It's literally just me talking on my phone about baseball cards and other things in the hobby while I go on my walks at night. So that's really about it. But I've got like probably 150 of them up there now as far as episodes go. So check it out. Let me know what you think. But I thought this is worth talking about on YouTube as well. There are a lot of people, especially I think it's important to talk about it in this climate because for the hobby, because we have a boatload of people that have come in the past year and a half. And I love it. I love it that there's so many more people that are coming into the hobby. Some of them are new and they are in it because they see that there's money to be made. That's fine. There is. There's also a whole lot of other people that came back into this hobby for nostalgia purposes because they loved this hobby back as a kid, and maybe they saw something about baseball cards like in some article in some magazine or something or some website, and they're like, hey, I remember baseball cards, let me check them out. And as a kid that's coming from the era that 1991 Donruss Elite cards numbered out of 10,000 were the rare ones, and opening up tons of boxes of 91 Donruss, 89 score, 90 tops, and all that, and there being like literally no chance of there being any kind of chase cards that you hit or anything like that, because aside from like those elites that were like 1 in every 25 cases or something, coming from that era and then jumping in now to seeing what there is overwhelming, yes, but like wildly crazy exciting. You see these cards are like amazingly flashy, the one of ones, there's jumbo patches and barrels and knobs and all this and everything. So something else that's really interesting to probably a lot of newcomers is the idea of box breaks. So not only do you open a box yourself to see what you have, which by the way, some of these boxes have like 1 or 2 packs and only a couple cards per pack, as opposed to back in the junk wax era, the 80s and 90s, where you have 36 packs of baseball card goodness with 15 cards per pack. That's a big difference between now and then. So that's something that some people have to get used to. Another thing is Razzes, and so there's people out there that they've asked me, what's a Razz? So I want to talk about that for a second and kind of explain it to you. So on, for example, Facebook groups, there's a lot of baseball card Facebook groups out there. And if you have, say, like a 2008 Triple Threads Ken Griffey Jr., for example, that's a jumbo patch autograph and it's worth $300. You could put it for sale for $300, or you could run a Razz, which means that you sell 10 spots for $30 each. Now, when that happens, there will be 10 people that buy in. So the seller ends up getting the $300, but then a third party comes in and randomizes the numbers on some random website while they record it, and it randomly picks a winner. So if you bought into spot number 7 for $30, you get a $300 Ken Griffey Jr. card for $30. And so that's obviously appealing, especially to a lot of people that have something in them that just loves gambling, same thing, I guess you could say, with box breaks and case breaks. And another thing, of course, as well, is the actual box breaks, where you buy into a box break and you watch online where somebody opens the boxes for you. This is probably not news to you because if, the odds are probably if you're watching this, you might have either heard of these or you've participated in them. I've participated in a few myself. They're fun, but let me challenge you all on this. For me personally, whenever I get into a box break or anything like that, all of the excitement, the anticipation is front loaded, right? And after that, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to get anything worth your money. after it's gone, it's gone. There's nothing. Even if you open a box of cards. So let's say I go out and get a box of Allen and Ginter. I have opened exactly one box of Allen and Ginter. I got like a flannel relic from a duck hunter and like a shirt from a bowler or something like that. So, and this was years ago, by the way, but I remember opening this and going like, man, I paid $90 for this or whatever it was. And I have like a pile of cards that aren't worth anything over here. And then a couple cards that are kind of cool because they're relic cards, but they're not really worth anything either. And that left a bad taste in my mouth. So I was thinking, wow, if I keep doing this, I might hit like a really cool card, but whether I want to keep that card or not is another question. So if I hit a cool card and I sell it, then I recoup some of my money, but ultimately in the closet, there ends up being like just a bunch of commons and other semi-star cards that I don't care about. So, what I'm trying to hear, kind of talk about today is, to motivate some people to start working on something, build something amazing. And it doesn't have to be like a high dollar thing or anything like that at all, but just have something. And I'll tell you, and the reason why I'm telling you this, by the way, is because for me, I found out that because I was the same way. So I started out, buying and selling and buying and selling. And I kind of lost the collecting part of me. And this is like probably about 10 years ago or so, 5-10 years ago. I want to say about 10 years ago. And I remember just going, well, I come across some Pujols cards and some Jeter cards, and I like them because they're popular and all this. But ultimately, I would never keep anything for good. I would just sell them. And the profit was good. It was fine. But there was no actual desire to really collect until I got into Canseco collecting. And when I started collecting Canseco, it's like it felt like it gave kind of like a purpose to me in this hobby. And a number of things happened, which is really fun. Instead of buying a box over here for $90, opening it and getting $20 worth of cards, which by the way, I have terrible luck when it comes to opening boxes. So maybe it's not the same for you. I don't know. But instead of having like this high here, and then when it's open, it's just low, like you also feel kind of like, because you didn't, you weren't necessarily, or I wasn't necessarily wise with my money because I lost $70 in that gamble or whatever. And if you're into box breaking, that's fine, so do you for sure. But for me personally, it left me with a sick stomach and bad taste in my mouth. But buying singles was cool because my anticipation was here. And when I got it, it was here still. And the trick is obviously when you're buying cards, make sure that you pay a good price. So if you want to sell later, you're not losing anything, any money down the road. But you could do all this while you build something really incredible. And there's a lot of ways that you can build something. Half the fun is just kind of trying to put together something that you really love. So maybe you click with players that have your same birthday, or maybe it's your team that you like and you want to collect all of them from the time that you were born up till now, or maybe just the time period when you collected as a kid. There are some really fabulous collections out there that I've seen. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, some crazy, Hall of Fame or high-end superfractor super collection or anything like that. I mean, you could collect Oakland Athletics cards from, the 70s, 80s, and 90s or something. And it's fun. It gives you kind of like a little bit of a mission, a little bit of a purpose. There are also a number of other benefits in doing so, especially if you share your journey online. I love it when people share their collections and their journeys and their stories online when it comes to this hobby. I think it's extremely healthy for the hobby, for us to be able to share what we have with each other and educate each other and everything. But whenever you start sharing what you have online and tell everybody what you are looking for, a number of things happen. Number one, first of all, let's step back a second. If you focus in on something, you can become an expert in that certain area. Baseball card collecting itself is so wide and so vast. It's difficult to have somebody that can accurately price an obscure Hall of Famer and old judge from the 1880s, as well as 50s mantle as well as PSA 10 Roger Clemens rookie, and then an Acuna Superfractor or something, because there is so wide and so vast of a net that this hobby casts. It's very difficult for anybody to really kind of become an expert in all this stuff. So, and same thing with like aged prototypes. I mean, you could have like the biggest expert in the world, and I could bring up some prototypes from the 80s, and they may have never heard of the cards before. So, it's interesting. This hobby is really, really deep, and it's grown exponentially in the past couple decades. It was very simple compared to the last couple decades, in the past. But anyway, so when you zero in on something, whether that be guys with crazy names or Hall of Famers that have reprints from tops that are refractors and they're signed or whatever, once you do this and once you start looking at pricing, you can really become an expert in that area, and it makes things a lot easier whenever you look at cards for sale, and you can make a quick snap judgment whether it's a good buy or not. So going back to posting these things online, when you start showing things online, you will garner attention, and you can also potentially be known as that type of collector. So that means you'll kind of establish a sort of gravity about yourself, where some of these cards will start flowing into you because other collectors will know your name. So if you're going for, let's say, Freddie Freeman cards, and you tell everybody online that you're a big Freddie Freeman collector, and you're looking for all of his patch cards or something. Let's say somebody opens one and finds one, a patch. They could potentially hear either from you or from somebody else that knows you that you might be the right buyer for that card, which that's everything, guys. Like that's a fabulous position to be in. But guess what? If you don't tell people that you're there, they're not going to know. So that means that the entire burden, I guess you could say, but it's not really a burden, but the entire burden of you actually adding to your collection falls squarely on your shoulders, where you're only the one looking. However, if you start telling other people what you're looking for, and show your collection, and share with everybody what you have going on, then you have other people start looking for you as well. I've noticed also, which has been kind of fun, is you'll start to notice that there'll be some people that root for you, because it's fun to watch people build something amazing, which is really cool. And I'm reminded of Rich, the Wade Boggs guy. Okay, he's got the Wade Boggs Tavern, which is his man cave that you go down the stairs in his house, and I'm sure you've probably seen it, but if you have not, definitely check it out. It's massive. It's awesome. Like, there's like probably not too many inches of wall or ceiling that are not covered by Wade Boggs things. I personally would not be the type of person that would want to do that for Conseco or whatever. And I'm telling you this for a reason, because in spite of the fact that I wouldn't be the person that would want to do that, I love seeing what Rich did, and I think it's like fabulous. I think it's just the coolest thing ever. And the reason why I bring this up is because there's a lot of people out there that may not understand what you're doing. Like, hey, Tanner, why are you going for Conseco cards? I don't understand why you like Jose so much. Or the Andy Van Slyke guy, or there's all kinds of other collectors out there that they have a certain niche of collecting that they just love. And they see these cards and the memorabilia just like somebody else might see Ty Cobb or Mike Trout or Babe Ruth or something. But when you start hitting a critical mass and you start building something that's really gaining some sort of like a motion forward, and people start looking at it, they'll look at it regardless of what it is. A lot of times they go, man, that's really cool. And you'll have some people that will be rooting for you. The whole process is fun. And so in the end, I mean, I'm not going to discourage against opening boxes or participating in box breaks or anything like that. But I would say, because, there are some people that are satisfied with doing that. I'm just kind of trying to tell my story of how fun it is. So I've obviously done this with Conseco cards. You can see Conseco cards over my shoulder over here. And then right over here, there's some of my vintage and everything. So I have two very specific lanes to go in, but and I think probably in choosing a certain lane to go into. I think that might be one of the reasons why when I sold out that I wanted to end up like back in 2018, I wanted to build something up again of Conseco's base cards, just to have like a project going. And again, that's not like that wasn't a very costly thing to do, but it was fun tracking down the 1994 finest, these other cards that are the Mother's Cookies cards and all these others, the 91 Classic and everything. It was just fun to really sit down and try to get these cards again, buy lots on eBay, fill my checklist up and cross them out, for what I, had. And it was fun. It was a fun project. And so it made basically the hunt almost as exciting and rewarding as actually getting the cards. In the end, guess what? I sold that too, because the project was over, and so, but that was kind of fun. And I realized with base cards, by the way, and that might be something that you consider, maybe doing a base card run of your favorite player. One of the things that helped me to determine that, I ended up selling those also like a couple years ago or something, is I could do it again. There's so many base cards, like you could do it over and over and over again. And it's just like building sandcastles. I see this as building sandcastles a lot of times. You have fun in the process. And so that kind of leads me probably to my last point is when it comes to collecting, just like a lot of things in life, it's not just about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the stories. You look at these Conseco cards back here behind my shoulder, almost every single one of those have a fabulous story attached to them. To me, they might not be too fabulous to you, but they are incredible to me, and I find them so satisfying. I love every single one of them and the story that's attached to them. Like I can look at any one of them and have great memories of each one of them, which is great. But anyway, so yeah, it's definitely something. I think that the journey, I think a lot of us, we probably don't put enough emphasis on that portion of things here when it comes to collecting. And I really do think we should. I think we should put a lot more emphasis in it, because that's the fun, the searching, the hunt. It's like the world is a whole treasure hunt for us when we start looking for these certain cards and everything. And again, I'm going to circle back on what I was talking about, the box breaks and the case breaks and everything. I'm not against those necessarily. There's some people that love them, and hey, that's the way we open the cards are open, so we can find the cards that we want. So that's obviously a plus. But what I've noticed for myself is if I open a lot of boxes and I get some really cool cards, the chances are slim that I'm going to get some amazing cards. The chances are far slimmer that I am going to get some cards that I love so much that I'm going to keep. So, but on the other hand, getting those cards is going to, helps promote trading, which is great too. So those are just a few of my suggestions. I would highly recommend picking some sort of like a category, whether, like I said, whether it's people that have your same birth date or that were born in your hometown or went to your college. There's so many ways, and that's part of the fun of collecting, is you can actually mold this to be whatever you want. It's like what I have right now, the two specific lanes that I'm in, a lot of people aren't going to understand. And that's okay, because I personally have never been more satisfied and content in this hobby, my whole life than I am now, which has been just great. It's just been a fantastic journey for me. And I really want this to be an awesome, incredible journey for you as well. So at the very least, maybe try it, maybe do something like small, like I said, maybe a base run. It's just fun. The chase is fun. And just as always, I'll give this warning to everybody. Just, be careful with your finances. Don't overdo it. Remember, there's no time limit for this sort of thing. You can take years, and that's okay. Just go at your speed. Don't worry about the fear of missing out thing, the FOMO that everybody's talking about. Just go at your own speed. Enjoy this hobby. Have fun. There's a ton of fun and enjoyment that can be had in this if you just let yourself. So anyway, so that's my thoughts, and another possible way of collecting. Maybe or maybe not maybe you've thought of it before, maybe you haven't, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so post them online too, guys. By the way, I love seeing your collections out there. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.